Hello, 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 beautiful unicorns. Welcome back to Get Your Shit Together podcast with Yana Kasperczak, where I help women to come on here and share their stories through this part of their journey of becoming. And today is going to be another one of these amazing episodes of Your Journey of Becoming, where women talk about how they went from dreaming to doing. This is where real women like Stephanie today will be sharing her real life stories, experiences, all of the messy, the magical, the middle part of becoming who she was meant to become. Because the reality and the truth is that your dream doesn't start when everything is perfect. It starts when everything is messy. And the moment you say, I am done playing small, I've had enough, I am ready to do what it takes to get to where I want to get to. When you've had enough and ready to do whatever it takes once and for all and stop dreaming and really start doing. So today we have Stephanie, who is a neurodivergent chef with bipolar disorder and dyspraxia. For most of her adult life, she let her neurospicy brain get in the way of accomplishing her very own dreams. And she was scared because of her verbal communication not being the typical one. And she stuttered and she spoke too fast. And as you can imagine, that's not an easy journey to be going through, especially in high school. And that's the part I really am excited to hear about of how things were for you and what those experiences brought you to today. And today she's actually teaching cooking to her community in Germany and has written three cookbooks now and working on her fourth. And she is definitely strong and capable of anything and everything that she wants to reach and achieve that is under her dream. So, Stephanie, I want to give you the microphone and let everyone know a little bit more of who you are, but most importantly, what brought you here today and wanting to share your story with everyone?
Sure. Well, thank you so much, Anna, for having me on your show. I really appreciate this. It's an honor. It's a privilege. I love sharing my story with people, especially women. I feel like a lot of people out there today are sharing their stories. It's very on vogue. It's very popular, very chic. Hey, I have a cool story. I'm going to tell it to you. Fine, great. I'm going to jump on that game. And yes, very much sheep right here on that. But I think that my story is very unusual and very valid. Because yes, today being neurodivergent is a lot more accepted and understood, and I feel like we're very lucky to, in my generation, the millennials, being able to support the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha people who are coming up into the world and being neurodivergent. And people know, hey, you have dyspraxia. I know what that is. That was not the case when I was a young person. No
Hmm.
one knew what dyspraxia was. I was like, even I didn't. I was like, oh, I'm 15 years old. I get this paper from the doctor, like, oh, you have dyspraxia. Okay, well, sure. And
Can you tell
and
everyone what that is? Because there's some people that
of
might
course,
not know, right? Just like you said, you didn't know. Guarantee there's someone else, at least one person that doesn't know. So that way
absolutely,
they don't have to Google it.
no problem. I am Google. Here we go. So
There you go.
dyspraxia, two dots. No, no. Okay, so dyspraxia is a neurodivergent condition, and basically, it affects different people in different ways. So for me personally, primarily verbal communication skills. So I have difficulty communicating verbally. Like I speak too fast. Sorry, but not sorry. That's how I sound. I'm okay with that today. Today,
Yeah.
stories there. It affects how you learn things, how you memorize things, but it also affects things like your motor skills, like your gross and fine motor skills. It affects your orientation a lot. Like I get lost everywhere. As a traveler, Google Map is my rabbi. Really. Okay.
Mm.
It also affects like the way that you communicate, like in social situations, like social skills, social anxiety is very common. Um, Dysthymia is a thing. Dysthymia is sort of like being sort of in your like watching the scene versus being in the scene is what that is, and that's very common in people with dyspraxia as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, this is my world. Living in a world where you couldn't express yourself properly. But today it's different. Like today I teach, I give workshops all the time. Like I'm comfortable speaking publicly. I give speeches. I've done talks on disability and stuff, and it's all good. But that
Awesome.
wasn't the case for most of my life. I mean, really,
Yeah.
like until I was like, I'm 37 now, until I was 33 or so,
Hmm.
I could barely give a presentation in class, you know?
Yeah. So how was high school for you then? Because that doesn't sound like it was easy at all, especially with teens who are like naturally born bullies at that age, right? A lot of them. So
Yeah.
how was that?
High school was fairly terrible in general, I must say,
Yeah.
because I got diagnosed so late, and because I grew up bilingual as well. So my parents, they did the one parent one language policy, which is amazing, and they should have done that, and they did great. And so I contended with speech issues in two different languages already from when I was like a small child, and so on. And so I went to bilingual school, Lego school for quite wealthy families. I had a scholarship, believe it at that, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and so I was very much set aside as the girl who was weird, who talked too fast, who didn't really have friends, who got picked on. Was like, yeah, I have cool hair now, but I had like a major Jufro. I'm a Jew. I can see I had a major Jufro, like, because my parents couldn't handle my hair. They didn't know how to deal with the curl, you know, and
Yeah.
all that. So I just had a lot of things against me to having a negative high school experience. Um, but then my last year of high school, my parents actually sent me to boarding school and in France, and then it was different. Like I had friends and people who were weird like me, and it was fine, you know. And it was I found my tribe when I was 17 in France, and my friends were all queer and weird, neurodivergent, as I think about them now. Of course, we
Mhm.
lost track of each other. This is years ago, but still, you know. Um, but then after high school, I went back to the US, went back to California, and I made a new tribe. And then the quirks that I sort of wore proudly as a person who's neurodivergent became applauded. Like, Steph is weird. She's funny. She talks funny. She's funny. Ha ha ha. It's
Yeah.
cute. It's
It
cute. That's sort of
it
where it
is.
became okay. Yeah.
And this is where we as human beings, we do, this whole concept of, oh, you must love yourself first and you must accept yourself first. But we humans, we are social creatures. And being social simply also, one of the things that social means is being accepted socially in our tribes, in our communities. Whatever that tribe and community is, and where you can grow with it and evolve with it. But when we don't have it, let's say you go through school and you have no friends whatsoever, that feels very, very lonely and isolating. But having just one friend makes all the difference in the world. And honestly, over the years, I'm sure you've learned as well, it's better to have quality friends and just a few like quality friends over having so many friends who you can't rely on, who are not there for you, who are would to an individual would not be quality friendship,
No,
right?
of
Because
course. I mean, like, it's like this. Like, I've
yeah,
moved a lot. I lived in a lot of different countries and met
yeah, 5 countries
thousands
you
of
said, right?
people. Yeah, I just met people. And friendship is something that I take very much seriously because you move to a new country and you're lonely. I mean, I've lived with my
Yeah.
partner the last couple of times, and that's been great. We've been very much each other's support system. But especially when we moved to France, we didn't have any friends who were living. anywhere near us. Like my closest acquaintance was in Marseille. And that's like still like a 2 hour drive from the city that I was living in,
Mhm.
Montpellier, on the south on the coast by the sea. Um, so people came and went because it was a city where people just lived for 6 months and then they just, pottered off and carried on. And so first we tried to make friends and we made some great friends and then they left. It's like, okay, well, sure. So now I love my friends and I try to find the balance between you're my best friend ever, I love you to death, but maybe you're going to leave and we'll still be in touch. And then
Yeah.
I'll visit you wherever you are, and you'll visit me wherever I am, and there we go. I mean, I have friends from college who I've barely seen, and we're still some of my best friends, like 20 years later,
Yeah. Some
Just
people,
how it is.
we meet some people for we meet everyone for a reason, but some of them we meet for a season and others we meet and have for a lifetime,
Of course.
right?
Absolutely.
And
That's
that's
amazing.
why we have people that are coming and going into our lives, and it's because we're meant to be learning and experiencing something from those connections, from those relationships. And so the question that I actually wanted to also ask is because this is Get Your Shit Together podcast, and this is where I've already mentioned that we don't do the surface level shit, we do the raw and authentic truth, and this is what you have already been doing. So I would love to know, when did you realize that the life that you were living wasn't actually yours?
Hmm. That's an amazing question. Okay, so how do I put this? All right. So the point that makes the most sense to start on is so I spent 5 years in Israel and I wasn't very happy. I mean, I went to grad school and I met my partner there and he's amazing. We're still together and it's all fantastic. Um but I felt like I was following the footsteps that I was told to follow, like go get a good education, even though my heart and soul's in the kitchen. Um so it was that and So I started writing my first. This is gonna make sense. I'm going in a circle. I'm sorry. I'm going in a
Oh
circle
no,
that
it's
has
okay.
no. I'm going in a spider web. That's what I'm doing. Making
Exactly.
connections. Here we go. Okay. So uh,
Spider on coffee.
there we go. And no coffee for me. It's late in the day. But no. So okay. So like in Israel, so I lived there for 5 years, and 2020 was like halfway point, and so Corona, la di da, and so I wrote my first cookbook at that time, and that was like the shift, if you will, because like this was like I finished my master's degree in linguistics, and I was like, okay, well, there's no work in linguistics because it's Corona. There's no work anywhere, so might as well just find something to do. So I wrote the first book. Um, it's called Picky Ton the Cookbook, and it's about basically like it's a culinary autobiography. So my life at that like up until that point, every recipe has a beautiful story from restaurant I worked at, family recipe, friends, something cool, anecdotal ingredient that's awesome. It's very personal, very cool book, and that was nice. It was
Mhm.
cute. I put it online, let it out. That was all that. And then I was like, okay, hang on. So this is fine, but not only is this incomplete, but it's a bit selfish because as a person who's very much an empath, I wanted to write a book to essentially support people who are like me. So, okay, I'm gonna make another book. I called it Picky Tongue Idiot Proof because I have a bad sense of humor, and my
Mhm.
cookbook is for people who are neurodivergent. So idiot proof, and that was really beautiful. And then I realized, like, hang on, I can use this book to teach people who are disabled of various types. Like people who have like visual impairments can use it if they're not like blind, but if they have like some semblance of vision still, they can use it. People who have autism, who have Down syndrome, disabilities of various types, that kinds of stuff, ADHD and all that great stuff. And then I wrote my other book, Lockdown. It's called Cook Your Tongue Lockdown, which is slow food. And that was really more like a vanity project, I call it, because
Mhm.
um, that book was very much like, this is what I couldn't do. This is me showing off because I'm absolutely fabulous. Never got kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, the book I'm doing now is a very different game. It's called Picky Tongue Sassy, and it's a cookbook for people interested in aphrodisiacs, cuisine for couples. So
Okay.
it's raunchy stories and beautiful recipes with ingredients that are designed to get you all ready to go.
Okay. That sounds like
So
a
it's a very
very
different game.
interesting. You're right.
It's a different game.
Each book sounds, even though it has something to do with food, it's not just about food.
No, it's about a life, and it's about like I feel like I have a lot a lot to offer on a lot of different subjects. I mean, I'm well educated and I've lived different lives, and I think I could
Yeah.
offer different perspectives all around food.
Well, if you really think about it, all of our lives revolve around dinner table, around
Sure.
food. So when this is where I guess I don't really own too many cookbooks, or actually, I only own one because it was gifted to me. But looking through that, there's no inspiration. There's like no excitement in looking through that cookbook because it's like all the possible recipes you can get into one book were in that book. And I think it's called a cookbook, literally. So it's not even a fun title. But looking through a cookbook that is alive, that is like a dinner table kind of a conversation, or people that would even bring that book to a dinner table conversation. I feel like that's the shit that is missing maybe in the cookbook world.
No, sure. I mean, like cookbooks.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a ton of them out there. There are some that like there's so many kinds. I have a million at home. I've had millions. They just moved a lot, so I got rid of them. But
Hmm.
um, cookbooks can hold so many identities. Like you can have like your celebrity chef cookbook, and it's like this is how Otto Leggy makes I don't know hummus if you want hummus in Israel you call it.
Hmm.
Or this is how somebody who's on Top Chef and they have a cookbook now, and that's fine. But cookbooks by real people. I mean, because I mean, I'm not famous. Like, I think I have a cool story to tell. I'd like to be at some point, but I'm not a famous person. But I still wrote a book, and I think that on a certain level, it's very much like cooking is not only for people that live in a white chef jacket. I
Yeah.
have lived that life. I mean, I'm a chef. I worked in many restaurants, etc. It sucks, but I've done it. No more. I said I'd be like for years, so we'll see what happens.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's a challenging position to be in right now. It really is.
Yeah. I can imagine that being very challenging. So for you, what would you say would be, how each time we grow and evolve and we step into that new version of ourselves? So, what would you say was that version of you that had to die so that this version of you, the woman who you are today, could actually be reborn and live?
So I think that my main strength, yes, cookbook author, but my main strength is as a teacher. And so when I had that's funny that how you phrase that. It's great. Like I had a part of me had to die to be reborn. Okay, sure, I'll bite. Um, okay, it's a
I feel
difficult
like I'm
question, but
fishing.
okay, you're so cool. No, so I would probably say like the day that I graduated from grad school was when I was like, you know what, I'm not designed to be behind the books. It's not me. Like I'm a charismatic person. Like I'm a good advocate. Like I'm an active person. I work well with my hands, very well with my hands. And that's when I realized that I really had to just leave the life of an academic behind and just focus on cooking and writing my books, teaching, and doing advocacy for people with disabilities because that's really where I thrive.
Hmm.
And hiding behind a book or a computer or whatever such is amazing. It's not
Hmm.
enough. And that's not me.
Yeah. So, what would you say is you now?
Oh, just being able just to come up and be like, I'm gonna teach cooking now, and I do that regularly, and like making community through that. Like people will come and they come. People come back to my classes. They're quite popular, and so they come back and they see people they saw like 2 weeks before whatever. And, oh, hi, you're back, and la di da. Now we're best friends, and we're gonna go for cocktails, and it's like makes me happy to build that community together. And that's a lot of my social circle now is like people know each other through my partner and myself because we have a very like open house policy. People go, people come for drinks, they stay for the week, whatever. It's people always are in your home. That's
Mhm.
very much, but I teach home as well. So like, it's very much like part of our culture as a family, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's just the openness,
Yeah.
the willingness to bring in people and to have them to meet each other and become friends and more, etc. It's a very
Mhm.
beautiful thing. It really is.
No, it is. And in some, how do I put it? It's like we all have different lifestyles, and if that's the lifestyle that you have discovered for yourself that fits you and you get to live your best life, then do that and you do it to the best of your ability. And I'm saying it for those women who are scared to step into the lifestyle that they want to be living. For there's numerous reasons why we're scared, right? But fear is literally the ultimate killer of dreams.
Sure, that's very true.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of women in the U.S. This is the world that I've lived the most. I lived there for most of my life. We'll say, I mean, a bigger proportion, we'll say. And a lot of women in the U.S. are so scared of traveling. I find
Mm,
that unbelievable because it's just like the world is so beautiful. The
yeah.
world is amazing. You can see and do and eat and meet and do great stuff. You can't do when you like don't go outside of your state walls. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And
I
that's
really
fear that
feel
holds
like
them
that's
back.
the biggest. It's a big fear. I know in the U.S. it's hard because it's expensive, because people don't have much money right now out there, because it's so expensive, because people don't have a passport. Let it out. These are obstacles that you can easily get over. Save a little bit of money, you go to like some
I
parts
wouldn't
of
even call them obstacles. I would call them, to be honest, because
excuses.
I don't like to bullshit and beat around the corner, but they're more like excuses. Because if you really wanted to do something, you will make it happen no matter what. If you want to go on a trip and your excuse is I don't have money, then that's going to be the excuse throughout your whole entire life and everything that you do. And you're going to be denying yourself living because of what living means to you is to travel, and you're not allowing yourself to do that because of money. Can you not get a part-time job? There's so many things that you can do part-time online now just to get a little bit more money. Like shit, we all have so much crap around our homes that we can do garage sale every day probably for a week, maybe a lot more. I don't know how much stuff you have. And have people come and buy things, and then you can take that money and use it towards the traveling. But Yana, I gotta pay this and I gotta pay that. Well, you were gonna be doing that anyways. This is extra money that you've earned for this particular reason. Now, don't go down that slippery slope of, oh, I just need that money elsewhere. No, go and live. So, how has really living your best life been working out for you?
Well, I mean, overall, really fabulously, I must say.
Right?
I
Isn't
mean,
that how it's
honestly, I
supposed to
mean,
be?
of course, but I mean, like, of course, there's obstacles, and there's always work to be done, and it's not perfect. I mean, money is tight
Yeah.
right now, but I mean, that's just how it is because, um, yeah, because right now I actually just quit my job because it was making me miserable. So I was just like, you know what, like, you guys are not worth it. Like, I don't care about these tight right now. Like, I'm gonna be okay with that. I'm gonna make my own
Yeah.
dreams come true and not depend on a job that I needed when I first came to Germany because I needed something to make money. Fine, and that was that.
Yeah.
But now that I'm strong and I built my community enough around teaching that I can do this, and it's amazing. It's a great
Yeah.
place to be, honestly.
I love that. And I applaud you for choosing yourself over a job because it's not an easy thing to do. Most people will depend on a paycheck, but once I heard this quote, this phrase, it really opened up my eyes. And this was a time when I was really like broken and healing and going through shit. And growing pains are real, right? When we're growing, we're hurting. And the quote that I heard was that a paycheck is a bribe that you accept to put your dreams on hold.
Sure, that's not a bad quote, not at all. I mean,
Yeah,
pretty bad.
right? And it's like, oh my God. We've been bribed, and we didn't even get to choose how much we're gonna be bribed with. They chose our pay for us,
There
right?
we
Because
go.
you go to a job and they tell you this how much you're gonna get paid. You can argue with that, but they'll still have their limit. But when you have your own thing, the sky is the limit. It's all a matter of how you want to do it, how you want to build it.
Yeah, of
And
course.
and then when it comes to, the growing pains, the growth and evolution, one big part is realizing the lies that we all have been living with. So I'd love to hear what are some or that one biggest lie that you were living that felt normal until that lie broke you.
Well, it's a bit of a story.
I love
So I told
stories.
you how like wonderful. Um, I went through the biggest lie I told myself was I'll never be able to do public speaking.
Mm,
Because of how I sounded until I was like in my early 30s.
yeah.
Um, so around that time, so I was with my partner in Israel for a couple of years, and then he told me, okay, I go to this doctor in Switzerland uh, every year or so, and she gives me herbs and she fixes me, basically. So I was like, okay, I'll go, sure. She gave
Mhm.
me herbs, and after 6 months, I could speak pretty well. After a year, I could give a presentation. After 5 years, I was able to teach. It was great, you know?
Perfect.
And that was really like this big turning point. And without that, I don't know where I'd be. I mean, it really was just we mentioned fear being very strong in women. Well, that was my fear. It's just people hearing how I sounded. Like I hid behind writing. I'm a strong writer, of course. I mean, never books and so on and so forth. But I hid behind the keyboard. I can write. This will be my weapon. It's not enough. Nobody reads anymore. It's true.
Yeah, but they can listen to it, but I mean, they
Sure.
can't see all the other things that would be in the book that could be put in there, right?
Of course. But I mean, I was just saying in general, like just really, it's
Mhm.
like a very much a two pronged thing. It's really just about being
Yeah.
able to express yourself in the way that it matters, in the way that it fits. And yeah, thinking that it would be enough just to be a writer and to write and have that be my weapon is not enough. Not anymore.
Yeah. No,
I
and
mean,
and
I
I
sound weird. I
love
know
that.
that. I speak too fast. I know that, but at least I don't stutter anymore, which is definitely a plus.
Yeah, no, I love that because that's such a powerful realization and a story recognizing that you're living with this lie that I can never be a public speaker. All I can be is a writer, but to you what it sounds like it was really limiting and that you didn't want to be just a writer. You wanted to do the thing that brain, that inner critic inside that is playing this concert on repeat. I'll never do public speaking. I This is all I am, right? Until one day it's like, no, that's a lie. And what what do you think changed that allowed you to go from one to the other, to actually not just dream about being a speaker, but doing?
Sure. Well, it was kind of gradual. So, like, I started teaching a little bit in France because like teaching as my own thing. Because I taught before in different contexts, different companies I worked for. And I was teaching with them, fine. But
Mhm,
thinking about myself was a very different game. So I did a little bit in French when I was living out there. So for the community events back, so I did a few lessons here and there, and that was fine. Just to kind of get my feet wet because it'd been a while since I had taught. It'd been maybe 2 3 years, I think, since I taught my class. Um, and so like, okay, and then this is gonna sound really silly, but then I got an email from the person that I teach now, who is in the U.S. I teach him online pretty regularly. So I hear from his mom, and she's like, "Yeah, like, are you still living in San Francisco? La di da. We found a blog you're featured in. Can you teach our son?" It's like, "Well, I can teach your son, but I live in New York now. Can you use it online?"
mhm.
It's like, "Yeah, we can try, of course. Give it a try," because they wanted the son to become independent with cooking. So I taught rather the son online for about a year or so, and like while teaching my classes for the German community and so on. And that was very beautiful because I realized, if I can teach somebody who is neurodivergent online, I can teach anybody, anywhere, anytime. Let's go, you know.
Right.
And that faith that they provided me with, this person, like I met them in person a couple of times because I went to the U.S. to visit, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna meet you guys in person because of course, I mean, we're here. Um,
Hmm.
but the trust and the faith that I could help their son, and I did, was very much like a confidence booster. Like I got this. These people are wonderful. They want me to help their son. I did, and it's cool, and I still am, and it's wonderful. Very much, it helps. It really does. Like someone's faith,
Hmm.
even if it's like a stranger from an email, and then the yes, and then the first money. It's like great, let's go. It really
I
helps.
love that. I really love that. That must have been such a different experience, and also helping someone who might have been in the same place where you were struggling, and especially in going through school, that's not an easy thing.
Now, of course, I mean this
Hmm.
this person is 22, I think, not 21, not somewhere in there.
Wow.
And he's never had a friend. He lives at home, which is fine. I mean, if you're, it's
Hmm.
difficult. He has a
Yeah.
lot of the same challenges as I've gone through, and I think I support him in more than just teaching him how to cook. I support him in a way in which I understand a lot of what he goes through every day,
Hmm.
and the way that I teach him is very specific to him. To his needs, I've got to know him pretty well as a person, and it's like, okay, well, this works for you, this doesn't work for you. You
Yeah.
need this, but not that. This language and not that language, etc. Very specific.
Hmm. And it's also what it sounds like you built a beautiful connection with him and got to know him. But I always love to know, especially because it sounds like you were pretty much coaching him, right? So as a coach, as a guide for him, what did you learn about yourself through the process of helping him?
It was actually a very humbling experience. So it is a humbling experience rather because like when I lived in London, I was teaching cooking to adults with like various kinds of like neurodivergent spectrum stuff, like people who
Hmm.
had like Down syndrome, autism, whatever such, and learning disabilities and all kinds of stuff along those lines. That's my job. And I thought that I was amazing at my job. I was like 24, 25, thinking I'm amazing at life. Let's go, I'm the best thing. What a culture I live in London, let's go, very, very like full of myself at that point. I came
Hmm.
in with that idea that I can teach people who are neurodivergent, which I can, I'm good at that. But it's about the place of the ego, right? So it's like I was convinced because I had this great job 10 years prior on my resume that I was able to teach anybody who's neurodivergent. And most of the time we have great experiences. But it's the days that class doesn't go up because he's in an off mood because my neurospicy brain is doing crazy things, then it doesn't go well. And it's those days that it's even like I hate them in the moment because it's frustrating. Like I mean, I
Yeah.
gave a lousy lesson because something happened.
Hmm.
Um, but it's really just it's a humbling experience, and I
Yeah.
love those days. Now, looking at them,
Yeah,
not
sometimes
so
we don't
much.
like to be humble, but when we are, that's when we really truly appreciate it. And the
Of course,
humbling comes from the ego being hurt a little bit or like shook. And it's like, okay, look at this, look at it from a different perspective, a different way. And then we shift where the ego gets humbled and we grow and evolve into a better version of ourselves.
true, very true.
Mhm. So throughout your life, we all have all of our lives, we all have this moment where um, life gets too hard and we go through the times and moments of suffering, struggling and suffering, because sufferings of the mind and struggling is, the body and the mind both. But we all get to a point where we've had enough and we say, enough is enough. So, where we know that it's either we change or we get stuck like this forever. When would you say was that moment for you when you said enough is enough and things changed because you worked towards that change?
Um, I would probably say that moment was okay. So In London, life was difficult because I had a great job, but my partner was just not somebody who was good for me. He wasn't a bad guy, but he wasn't the person who I was supposed to be with.
Hmm.
And we were thinking about getting engaged. And then I was like, hang on a second. I'm going to move to Israel because I'm Jewish and I could study for free there. That's the thing that they do. Um, so I'm going to go to grad school and I'm going to go for free because in Israel, I can do that and it won't cost me anything and I can just do my thing. Let's go back to school, because I had a bachelor's at that point from San Francisco State and I was like, okay,
Hmm.
let's do more studying. So well, my partner was on vacation. This is very shitty, and I hate to say it, but this is not a nice story. It makes me look terrible. But partner was on vacation. He was in Amsterdam, and I started applying to the university that had a program for me in linguistics in Israel. And then I started to apply to immigrate to Israel, and then I left like 2 months later. And that was that. We moved in together and everything, and it was just not. It's not a nice story. I look terrible saying this, but it's true. I'm sorry, homeboy, wherever you are. Um, but yeah, no, it makes me look terrible. But it was just the time to continue life. I mean, London gave me what it could, and it was amazing. And I got to travel, and I met great people, and I worked my dream job at that time, and that was cool. But it was really just being able to, I hate to say it, but be a shitty person sometimes makes your dreams come true.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a
This is
shitty
a
person
very,
though.
this is
Yeah.
it's a shitty thing to have done.
No, it's I
I
would
don't
call it
regret
ballsy because I have this amazing book. It says good girls don't get ahead, but ballsy girls do. Because
it.
all of us were conditioned to be good girls, and this is where like I all of us have done shitty things where we've hurt someone and we feel bad about it, we feel ashamed about it or embarrassed. But if we didn't do anything about it, yeah, could have we done it a different way? Yes, but in that time, maybe that's the only way we could see to do something, right? Is it shitty?
Sure.
Maybe. Is it shitty? Or maybe it's not shitty at all, right? But we learn from all of those and we grow and evolve and then we do things differently. But if we allow ourselves to continue to stay where we are for the fear of hurting someone, because somebody's going to get hurt sooner or later. We can't go through life not hurting anyone, not upsetting anyone, because that means that you're hiding in a hole somewhere, maybe became a hermit crab and you're not living anymore, right? And that's when you're like, oh, I don't hurt people. Because if you don't put yourself out there, how can you not? But we all gotta choose ourselves. And this I feel like will be a perfect question, even though this might be the answer, or like this might be similar to what we are just talking about, where you'll share the same answer, or it might be a different thing. But through our life, like we lose things. Sometimes it's a pen that we lose, sometimes it's people that we lose. But we lose different things that we go through our life. So on your journey, what did you lose that you did not expect to grieve?
um, hmm. hmm. I would just say I would go back to the idea of ego. Um,
Mm,
I lost my ego because at some point I realized, hang on a second, like you think that you're hot shit because this, that, the other, but actually, hang on a second, like you can do so much, but there's something that you cannot do. Like,
yeah.
so it's really good to be able to realize, be humble. That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, and you
So,
get so much further that way too sometimes.
sure, no, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, that's
Yeah.
interesting. But and I kind of miss my ego because it made me feel more confident. But that confidence was basically just like a shell. It wasn't genuine, right?
Mm,
It's a different
yeah.
thing.
I love that. That's really interesting to look at how, well, confidence is part of the ego. And one thing I've learned on my spiritual journey is that the only way how the ego can fully be diminished if no the body is no longer living. Because that part, the ego part, we will never ever fully get rid of, because it's part of being a human. And the ego itself is just even wanting more for yourself. Simply, right? That's still the ego. You wanting more. Whereas there's nothing wrong with that. Wanting more is what we're humans are here to do. Why would
No,
we not? Why would we want to travel more, experience things more, and really, really live? And have that candy, obviously not every day, but have that candy that you want to have, even if it's not the best ingredients on there. And if you don't like them, you can make it in your own kitchen, right? And make the one that you want. And um through and this is like how we can all in many ways get our shit together, because when it comes to getting our shit together, it's not just on, I'll put it in the way of every single day, each and every one of us is doing something to better ourselves, right? Whether it's yourself personally, hopefully you're doing that every single day, those of you who are listening, and if not, you can just a little bit just listen to something that helps you to better yourself, and or in your actual physical life. I know pretty much every person that I know could use a little bit of decluttering and organizing in their physical environment. And so, as we're all going through this process of getting our shit together, for you, Stephanie, what does getting your shit together actually look like right now in real life? And not just something that we could share in the highlight reel, but in real life, what does that actually look like to you?
fair enough. So right now I'm getting my shit together because I'm in that kind of awkward place right now because I'm sort of in the position where I'm just going to depend on my own abilities to support myself financially. So that basically means growing my business. So that means finishing my book because I've been working on it for the last year and I'm tired of looking at it on my computer. Like, let's go, come on, it's almost done.
Let's
It really
go.
is. It really is almost done. It really is. But
That's why you picked that title. Let's just fucking go and do it, right?
there we go.
I love that.
Um, and then just building up on my student network, people who come into my classes, and
Mhm.
finding people who want me to teach them in general. Like I'm also teaching with the local cooking studio, like as like a freelancer kind of thing, which is cool, extra money, and they're very nice. And it's cute, but I want to do my thing primarily. Sort of want to focus on what I'm doing myself, and that's a big step. It really is because
Yeah.
like I've always had a job and have done my other stuff, but today, as literally like 2 weeks ago, literally, like I'm just at myself now. And it's great. Like it's so freeing and it's beautiful. It's so fucking
Yeah.
beautiful.
It
Like I'm
is.
free, really.
Exactly. But that's where also, I've been through this myself. That's where it
Okay.
can become really challenging, because now it's like, I have all this time. What do I do with it? And then days go by, weeks go by, and the needle is not getting moved. And I'm sure you know the reference to the needle, right? The needle is when you're like moving the needle in your business means doing the things that are actually going to bring the result you want. And the
Oh,
result of any business is finances, because otherwise it's not a business, it's a hobby, right? And I've treated my business like a hobby for a little there, and we all get to a place where it's like, okay, it's time to get my shit together and really go down and get that thing done, like a book in your case. And what do you have a date when you're planning on launching it? I know this is like putting you on the hot seat of when that might be, but hey, pressure is important. This is how diamonds are, coal turns into diamonds. So when is the book coming out?
I'm gonna say probably like mid June or so when it come out.
Mid-June.
Yeah,
Awesome.
very soon, very
Yeah.
soon. Because I have to do like a couple bits, couple recipes and testing still, and so
Hmm.
on. And then I need to do some proofreading, which is the worst part. And I have to recruit my partner to do that for me because I have no patience whatsoever for myself with that. So
You know
yeah,
what you're
thank you,
good at?
Leslie.
you know what you're good at and you know what your partner is good at. So
Sure.
you share those duties so you're not doing the same things,
Oh, sure.
right?
Absolutely. It's a
Um,
good
uh,
fit. It's
that was
amazing.
that was the coach in me coming out because I know if we don't put a deadline on something, it's not gonna happen. If you don't
Sure.
put it in your calendar, it's not happening. And more often than not, actually, it's not more often than not, it's all the women that I work with, they don't put things on the calendar. And especially the things that they don't put on the calendar is themselves. They don't
Mm.
prioritize their well-being and their health, and all that time gets hijacked. So it's more like I'd love to know what are the things that you are doing for yourself that you would call personal or self-care and self-love that helps you and energizes you and motivates you and gets you going.
Sure. I paint. I mean, you can look at this is my living room, and you can see there's paintings everywhere. I love to do art. That makes me really happy. Like thinking about art is very much about my journey. I mean, I love to paint like primarily figures. Like I do like figurative nudes primarily. I love the human form. I think it's beautiful, and because of my dyspraxia. This is the one time that I will use it as a very valid excuse. My fine motor skills are terrible. So my paintings are big and they're rough and their brush strokes are big and that's just how they are and it's beautiful. You can see back there.
Yeah, and
Uh,
people would love that as well. That just what makes you unique.
sure.
Every artist has their own brushstrokes.
Sure, absolutely. And I mean, that's just how I
Yeah.
paint. It's a good style and it looks cool and I love what I make and there we go. So
So we
yeah,
get to see your
art
brain in the
and
painting.
there we go. So that's me back there. I painted myself. I never do that. But it's the first time I painted myself because I wanted to for years, and I did that. I started it like 6 months ago, and I finished it like 2 months ago. So it took a while. Um, but yeah, no, it was an interesting experience because it was really sort of getting. It almost felt like that last bit of the ego just came out right? Because I was like, okay, I'm going to paint myself, and this is so incredibly egotistical. Like I felt like one of those artists, Van Gogh,
Mhm.
la di da,
Mhm.
paint your face, blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, and I also like I'm naked in the picture, so it's even more like personal.
Hmm.
Um, and no, it was interesting. It was a whole experience, and it really was like it took so much time and so much like painstaking effort to make that happen. So that was cool
Yeah. But it's worth it
translation
in
of the
the
ego
end.
into canvas. It's amazing. It's a
Yeah.
fun hobby. It's the hobby. I won't make money off being an artist, but I want to make more money off of becoming a cooking teacher and cookbook author for the
Hey,
web. So,
nowadays everything is about multiple income streams,
sure, definitely.
right? Can't rely on one income stream because when that's cut, what do we have,
Yeah,
right? And that's why most of the world lives on one income stream, a job, because it's reliable, it's comfortable. But that's also the ultimate killer of dreams.
sure.
Very few people end up building their side hustle while they're doing something full time because it's not easy, or they're just busy, or not interested, or actually they love what they do. And that is absolutely amazing as well. We're meant to be doing things that we love. And if you go to school for marketing and you do marketing and you love it, you keep doing it. And if you don't, then do something different. Don't get stuck where you are. And I know there's going to be at least one woman who is listening right now and feeling or is stuck in the dreaming and doubting and overthinking phase. What would you say to her that might finally get her to get up, move, and get unstuck and start doing things that she wants to do towards her dreams?
It's not gonna get worse.
Say it again.
It's not going to get worse.
It's not going to get worse.
If you get up and make your dreams come true, it's not gonna get worse. It's only gonna
Oh,
get better.
yes. Oh, I love that. I thought you meant like it's not going to get worse if you stay there.
No, no,
Oh, it's not going
no,
to get worse that if you get up and you go and
no.
you do it. Yes, because you know what? Or more like in your experience, every time that you followed your dreams, followed your God, followed your intuition, how did things turn out for you, Stephanie?
I've hit some obstacles, we'll say, but
Hmm.
overall it's come out pretty well. I mean, I learned my lesson and I'm doing it right, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it really is just about how do I put it? Learn from your mistakes. I mean, it's super corny to say, but you really do learn. Like, okay, so that does not work as an approach, and people aren't ready for that, and then this and this and that, and so on and so forth. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, like, it's sort of like that old game, Pac-Man. You bump into stuff, and then you turn
Yep.
around, and you bump into stuff, and you turn around.
Yeah. And you figure out your way. There's an amazing book called um, Everything is Figure Outable.
Okay,
Yeah. Which means no matter what it is, we'll figure it out.
sure.
We'll figure it out without spending time judging and worrying and living in that fear of what if, what if, what if, when, there are scientific studies that proved 80% of what we think is going to happen, the worst case scenario, never actually does happen. And the other percentage that does happen, it always works out in the best case scenario.
Of course. Sorry
So
about
that's
that.
why it's like, go and do it, and it's gonna work out, and it's gonna be better than it was before.
Of course. I mean, like the bottom line is like your life will not suck anymore for you trying to follow your heart.
That is so true. And that's actually, I know some ladies that might be listening, they might be in a place where they feel like their life completely sucks. But if you really just think for a second and pause, can your life suck any more than it already does? If you just go and do that thing that you're avoiding doing? No, it's not gonna suck more. It's gonna be better because what we avoid controls us. It literally controls us and it paralyzes. And and then you can find yourself where I found myself not even wanting to get up for the day in the morning and get my day started, just wanting to sleep all day, every day. And even though everything in my life was great and I had all the things that, like you were talking about earlier, that ladder that you were following, like that when you realized, like you were following this ladder and this is not the life I wanted. This is not what I wanted. So then you created your own ladder and you started following your own ladder. But we understand that when we are struggling, when we're going through a hard time, and then we get a little bit better and we'll look back and we start to see things in retrospect, in the rearview mirrors. That's why in the car, I think that's why they give us three mirrors so we can see
Of
from all the
course.
different angles our past, what's behind us. I mean, that's a great analogy. Um I think when we look at our life in that way, you're not meant, and you can't drive your car if you're constantly looking in the back because you're going to crash. And that's why the front windshield, that's your future, and you're looking to your future. And on the side, that's your present as you're looking out the windows,
Mhm.
right? And that's why it's important to pay attention to what's happening on the side. But really, if you really like the way that I think we all live, even though we're living in the present moment, we're living in the way of we're just seeing a peripheral vision of the current life that we're living. But we're still living our life looking forward and looking back.
Sure.
But how we do it is going to determine our future, right? You can do it negatively, you can do it positively. So you choose. So as we're coming to the end of our podcast today, I wanted to ask you one last question. Um, What part of yourself are you finally allowing to exist without trying to hide or fix or prove it to anyone anymore?
Well, it's kind of funny. We spent the last hour talking about like disability and how it's been a challenge, but actually today my disability, like I don't think about it too much anymore. I mean, it's part of who I am, of course. I mean, like no spicy brain is hard to deal with, of course, sure. But I very much embrace that this is who I am, and it's no longer like, "Hi, I'm dyspraxic," blah blah blah, and then I meet someone new, and this is what I talk about. Like, no, like I mean, I'll bring it up maybe if it comes to conversation, but it's no longer like. this huge part of my identity. Like it's really about like accepting, I feel like I'm
Hmm.
healing really well at this point. It's like very much like, yes, I have a disability. Yes, there's challenges. Yes, I'm kind of over it. I've
Yeah.
spent time, I've written about it, I've talked about it on various panels and such, and so on and so forth. And
Yeah.
not,
I
it's
love that.
it's part of me, but it's not like the most there thing I choose to share. Right.
It's no longer controlling you, is what it sounds like. It's just who
Right.
you are, and you no longer even feel like you have to explain where there's not always a need for that.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. I feel interesting when I putting it. Cheers.
I love that. So thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing your story and your beautiful light today and your humor. And I know so many women felt seen in your words today, or when
Good.
they listen to the podcast that they're going to be subscribing to. And if you're listening and you love this episode, share it with a friend who's ready to get her shit together and come hang out inside the Get Your Shit Together podcast, where conversations like this one turn into gold. And make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, because Get Your Shit Together podcast, I upload new episodes every Saturday at 5:55 a.m. It's a nice number. I like it. I know it's early, but everybody's living in different time zones, and you don't want to miss episodes, because some of them are actually not live like this one. Some of them are going to be pre-recorded. And as I said, there's going to be so many golden nuggets that you can collect from all of these episodes, and take notes and take action on those things. So until next time, keep showing up, keep becoming, and remember that you are not behind. You're right on time, and you're exactly where you're meant to be. Thank you, everybody.
All right.